Cool. All right, we're live. Now we're just going to wait for people to come in. We can say fuck all we want.
Is this the Pat McAfee show where we just... I'm just kidding.
Basically, ESPN's not going to buy us yet. Not yet.
One day. We're still trying to recruit kids on this show, so, like, we're learning.
Ooh. Yes.
Oh, nice she got her good.
Nice
all
time.
Right.
1 out away, boys.
I'm sure we're all just
we're learning.
Watching. I'm pretty sure Brandon's the only viewer at this exact moment until we tweet it.
I'm tweeting it out right now. I had to copy the link.
What up, Connor? How's it going? We're all. I hope you're watching the game. I'm assuming you are, since you said Florida State tears. All right. Some people are starting to come in. Do you guys can see?
We got a grand total of 7. We're pretty good.
Brum decided he's too cool for us now. So we invited our friend Brody back on the pod. I don't know if you guys remember him from when Brandon went off to space camp. Welcome back, Brody.
Thank you, fellas. Thank you. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, thank you. I'm happy to be back. Trying to get the kinks out and get this iPad close enough for once this three-peat's fully secured.
But I say, Brody, you got to let me know whenever that final out happens, because Brody and I we've had a tradition about 3 years running now. Or after the final out's recorded and OU softball officially becomes national champions, we do a shot. I don't have any shots ready. He's got his shot ready. I'm drinking these weird twisted teas, which honestly, if y'all have not had a twisted tea, they're actually pretty tasty.
1 strike away, boys.
0-2 count. Here we go.
Who's better softball player? Who's the best softball player on this team? Because I have a tough.
Jordy Ball.
It's either Jada Coleman's right there.
It's Jordy Ball. Jada Coleman is unbelievable, but what Jordy Ball is able to do, especially in this World Series, like if you look at her numbers, she's gone over 20 innings without an earned run. Like that is.
She scored more innings.
That's
scored more runs than she's given up. She scored today.
She has outscored Florida State by herself in 2 games.
Yeah,
like that's incredible. Also, but no, go ahead.
I will die on this hill. I'll argue until you guys tell me to quit. I believe the most outstanding player of the whole tournament for the Sooners is K9.
No.
It's got to be Kenzie Hansen.
Kenzie Hansen is not. No.
Think of all the clutch
hits.
Think of all the clutch hits.
The only thing I can think about Kenzie Hansen came up big in that Super Regional against Washington, hitting that that tying shot or the shot that gave him. I can't exactly recall, but I mean that was a big shot.
It's over.
There we go.
It's over.
Brody, 3P baby.
Yes, sir. Boomer Sooner. Man. There it is.
All right, there we go.
We should get more people rolling in now. As soon as just won a national title, people are going to be ready to go, ready to celebrate. It's go time.
And we'll talk about some football recruiting as well, but biggest news of the day is 1,000,000%. The three-peat that we just all witnessed. Who the frick is Brody? Okay, just like you can leave. Yeah, I guess we can talk about it. Who was the MVP for OU softball? Brody thinks it's Kenzie Hansen. I'm assuming Brandon's going to say
Jordy Ball. It's Jordy Ball. But what I was going to say before we started, going on in this shit, we just won another title, but the fact that Jada Coleman in this game tonight, I think it was 3rd inning, maybe 4th inning, I don't exactly recall, but they had 2 runners on with 1 out, and Jada Coleman robbed a home run. And nobody even, lost their mind or, got super excited or, you know what I mean? They didn't act like it was robbed home run because Jada Coleman is literally – she's just that incredible that she does that shit all the time. It's expected of her to do that. And that speaks so much to her game. That is ridiculous. That she robbed a home run. and everybody in the Sooner faithful was just casual about it, like as if that's a routine fly ball to center. Like she robbed a home run, and no one bats an eye. I mean, she's that good.
Did you hear or did you see what Venables tweeted out?
Yeah, better ball skills than Billy Bowman.
She's got better ball skills.
I also love that he tagged Billy Bowman in that.
Yeah. It's
I'm sure they're going to talk about it at practice next. When is it? Monday, or I don't know. I'm assuming they might have practice tomorrow.
Nah, I bet you half the team was at the game tonight, and it was going to be a late day. I bet you they have the night. I bet you they have the day after tomorrow.
I guess there is a big recruiting weekend starting tomorrow. So actually, you're right. They probably get
the weekend off with all the recruits in town.
Mm-hmm. But Jordy's getting interviewed. Don't see what she's saying, but clearly very emotional. Just helped to win a third championship, the repeat.
No, you want to talk about all-time performances? A couple years ago, when we lost, we dropped game 1 to Florida State. Remember that? But beyond that, we lost the game. We lost the very first game of that tournament when Odyssey from James Madison pitched a gem, beat us.
Yep.
So they came back from the backside, made the finals, and then lost game 1. But in that series, it was G. Or that postseason, it was G. G Juarez was the girl who kind of was always on the hill, always did this, always did that. And it was phenomenal. She was lights out.
They gave it to Jordy.
She did not do
24 and 213 pitch, 0 on runs, 33 Ks.
That's what I'm saying. She did not do what Jordy Ball did this series, this postseason run. I think to have 20-plus inning pitches with 0 earned runs, I don't think I've ever seen that in a tournament.
I thought they gave you the most outstanding player of the whole tournament. They gave it to her for just the World Series. As a whole tournament, I still got to give it to K9. I mean, you got to look back at what she did in the regionals. You got to look back at what she did in the supers. She came up clutch time after time after time in the World Series. I couldn't even tell you how many RBIs she had, but it felt like every time she came up to bat, she had a chance. And I can't tell you in a bat that she got out.
The only thing I'd argue, Brody, outside of that shot in supers, with everything on the line, that winning streak on the line, the last game at Marita Hines Field against Washington, huge home run tied the game. Huge. Fantastic. Big moment. Outside of that, what notable moment can you think of in the postseason that Kenzie Hansen is responsible for?
Was she not the one that beat Stanford the first go-round?
Yeah, she started the rally for Stanford.
I would say Tiara Jennings beat Stanford. But you're right. Tiara Jennings hit the double that pushed us over.
The second game is what it was Tiara on her birthday. But and then last night to both are the first 2 RBIs of the game was K9 0-0 4th inning. She comes up, gets a double, scores, and ball game over at that point. I mean, she just came up clutch time after time after time, and you don't ever see who was it? It was against Stanford when they brought that freshman in after starting their backup against us. They brought the freshman in, and the very first batter, the catcher completely misses the ball and it goes to the backstop. We end up scoring that inning. You don't have to worry about that when Kenzie Hansen's behind the plate. You're not like, oh man, this is a big moment right here. I hope we don't have a pass ball. You don't see that from her.
I mean, yeah, her defense is unmatched. I agree with that. I mean, I'm just to not give Jordy Ball is the player of the tournament again because
my thing is, and I say it in football, I'll say it in softball. Football, you might as well have in NFL. You might as well have the MVQB. It's a QB award. The Heisman has turned into a QB award. The softball Women's College World Series, it always goes to a pitcher. You don't win a softball game without a run, and Kenzie Hansen continued to do it time after time after time.
You also don't win a softball game without giving up runs. And Jordy Ball went 20-plus innings, 0 earned.
And I want to say this. We've been talking for 10 minutes, and we have not mentioned yet 53 freaking games.
No, I was talking to my younger brother earlier. How frustrating is it now? Now that the season is over, or you just won their 3rd chip in a row, how frustrating is it right now that Baylor decided to beat them 1 game in the regular season? Because without that game, it's the very first season in softball history where somebody runs the table. Dumbass Baylor had to go be like, hey, we're Baylor. We're just going to beat you 1 time because guess what? That's what we do. Frustrating.
Greatest softball team of all time. All time.
They don't rebuild, they reload.
And who knows? Who knows what they could build this 53-game win streak into? It's going to go into next year, or in my book, it will.
So when you flash forward to next year, who does this team lose to graduation? I can't think of anybody right now. Grace Lions.
Grace Lions. Storako.
Yeah, Grace Lions. Yeah.
Storako's a graduate transfer.
Who got the start on the circle tonight and it was lights out besides 1 home run.
Talk on Twitter and then backed it up tonight. I love seeing it. After the Michigan head coach wanted to call her out.
The most impressive thing is Patty Gasso to me, because you go from really for the last couple of years, you're just an offensive juggernaut. And their defense is good. Like, their pitchers haven't ever really stunk. They've been good enough to help win, but you had Jocelyn Allo and the rest of the lineup that you knew you were going to hit. You're going to score a lot. So it could have been a shootout. You could have competed in a shootout if it was absolutely necessary. But this season, you have to divert to you have the best pitcher in softball. Like that, I don't think that's an argument. And you were able, but you don't. And they didn't have to win by a lot. It was a game like today. It didn't have to be, 4 or 5 home runs and to manage to win. They got 1, 2. Oh yeah, 2 back to back, and that was enough. And it was a matter of turning it around in an inning, which is another thing that's not talked about. Oklahoma plays ahead a lot, but they're not scared of playing from behind.
No, I think what you just said there, I think, is the coolest thing of all time, because if you watch the game, Storako gives it that shot. It was a solo home run on a changeup pitch. The Florida State catcher, I think, yacked it. So Florida State takes the lead to the top of the 4th, 1-0 Florida State. And all of a sudden, I mean, there's only 3 innings left to play in this game. So, that's like taking a shot at the 6th inning in a baseball game. It's 1-0, and it's crunch time now. In the way that this team responds, it's on cue. It's uncanny. It's crazy how as soon as Florida State takes the lead, the very next hitter for us is Sidney Sanders coming up, hits a home run. The hitter behind Sidney Sanders is Grace Lions, goes yard. And then we ground out. And Jada Coleman almost went yard too. Jada Coleman was 2 feet away from being the 3rd home run of the inning.
Right fielder smacks into the wall.
That response, the response from that team, realizing that they're down, and I don't think they meant to hit a home run. I don't think you ever go to the plate thinking I'm going to hit a home run or thinking this is what I want to do. You just want to get a hold of a pitch and see what happens. But the fact that I think this team realized they were losing 1-0 with 3 innings to go, and they're looking for their pitchers, they're looking for their best at bats, and they happen to go back to back, and that's just this team is the exact opposite of Oklahoma State, in my opinion. They are afraid to lose. Where in Oklahoma State, you are born to lose.
I think you say it best all the time: afraid to win. I tell a few of my former students that are now OSU students, I'm like, chose the wrong school. You must be afraid to win. Sorry.
They're afraid to win. Where OU softball is literally afraid to lose. It's the difference. OU softball is literally afraid to lose.
I think Connor here, he brings up, imagine being a transfer coming in and getting a natty.
How many do we have?
You got Stracco, who pitched tonight, and she got pulled in the 5th, right?
Yeah.
She picks up the win. Transfer from Michigan. You
Haley
have Haley Lee, transfer.
Sydney
Sanders, who ties the game with a home run, transfer. Those are the 3 I can think of off the top of my head. Boone is OU, Coleman OU, Hansen OU, Jordy OU, Lions OU whole career, Tiare OU whole career. But yeah, those are the only 3. And all 3 of them played a part. Haley Lee almost walks it off last night.
If Hodge didn't make an absolutely incredible play. By the way, hats off to her because that play was
beautiful catch.
Beautiful. I mean, incredible. But if she doesn't do that, it's a walk-off. It's a run rule in the World Series, in the Champ Series.
Yeah.
First ever.
Something we called for last year. Having to sit here through those painful games against Texas, and it's like, okay, can this game be over? This is freaking a blowout. And then I heard it last night. Oh, by the way, there is now a run rule in the Women's College World Series Championship Series. Where was that last year? That would have been nice. Instead, I had to sit here and watch that douche of a coach.
Oh, dude, Mike White is the worst.
I can't stand that guy. How far before we move on, if we're even close to moving on, how far does this Sooner softball team take this 53-game win streak into next year?
I think they start next year at least 20,
Yeah, it depends on how long Jordy Ball.
2025
As long as Jordy stays healthy, it's tough to score on this team. All this team needs to do is score 1 and then never give up a run, which seems pretty possible when Jordy's at the plate.
And another one, I believe I just thought of this, another one I think losing Nicole May. May's been there for a while.
Is she a senior? I'm pretty sure she's back next year.
Is she back next year?
I think she is. And if anybody's watching, correct us if we're wrong, but I think Nicole May's back next year.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope.
But again, you understand how crazy it is that OU has Nicole May on the bench in the bullpen tonight, in the dugout, a 1.0 something ERA pitcher, and she doesn't even sniff the field.
Yeah. That's like Stracco. I believe there we go. Jimmy just told us May's a junior, so she's back.
Hey, Jimmy, go Dolphins. Jimmy's a Dolphins fan, Brody. I don't know if you know that or not, but Jimmy's a Dolphin.
Sorry, Jimmy.
All right, so
I'm going to stop there.
Clearly, Oklahoma softball is continuing to make history. We'll see what happens next season. It doesn't really seem like they're slowing this team down. Let's move on to the big recruiting weekend for Oklahoma football. We've talked about it for a few weeks now. Williams Nwaneri's on campus. I believe he arrives tomorrow. He might be there today. You got a whole bunch of offensive linemen, Grant Bree. God, let me think of the rest of the guys. Grant Bree, Weston Davis, Eddie Pierre-Louis. Then Eli Bowen's there. Then you had a couple of last-minute additions and Kobe Black, Marcellus Williams, Fox Crater, Braden Platt. This is going to be a big weekend, and it was one that was just supposed to be a few guys, and now we've got probably just as big of a weekend as next weekend before the Champion Barbecue.
Is this the weekend Hawkins is Hawkins up this weekend?
He will be here. No, he will be here this weekend. I believe he's also expected to be there next weekend. I don't know which one is technically his official, but coaches are asking him to do a lot for the recruiting efforts of the 2024 class. And it's important.
I thought I saw the other day that we all knew he would be here for Champ U, but I thought I saw the other day that he announced that he was going to be here this weekend. So, I mean, let's get wild this weekend. You're going to bring your quarterback up for a reason.
No, I agree. Let's get wild. Like the craziest thing to me, I think, of this whole entire weekend.
Sorry, Sooner Cowboys.
Kobe Black is obviously he's a huge prospect. I think besides Williams Nwaneri, he's going to be the one that I think the Sooners prioritize. Like he's the one you want to land the most besides Williams Nwaneri. But Marcellus Williams, or however you say his first name, that guy is a heavy, heavy, heavy USC lean. You almost think it's over in favor of USC. And granted, he is going to Southern California next weekend, I think, after this weekend with OU. But the fact that the Sooners are getting him on campus for an OV, being that heavy of a USC lean, that's the one that I'm actually looking forward to the most, or kind of like tracking the most, because I think that's a visit that you don't really expect, being as heavy as a lean as he was for Southern California. To bring him on campus, I genuinely think that's big.
We talked about it again for months now. You can never count Jay Fly out in recruitment. Like, even if he doesn't win them all, which if any fan thinks that you're going to win everything in recruitment, you should probably scale your expectations back a lot, because that's just not how it works. You're dealing with humans. But as long as you're in that conversation with some of these kids, it's going to help keep the conversation going with a guy like Kobe Black. So, talking about Kobe Black, Sooner Cowboy saying that he thinks it's a Bama, he's basically a Bama lock. I kind of disagree. I think LSU is a sneaky dark horse there, and
I think Texas leads.
He's a Texas lean, but he released his visits this morning, and he's going back to LSU. I believe he's going to LSU right before the dead period, and then as the season starts. He is ending his visits with Alabama, so it might be an LSU-Bama battle there at the end, and Texas is probably going to be in that conversation as well. It would not surprise me to see Kobe Black go to LSU. I mean, LSU for a long time now has just developed really, really talented defensive backs. And if you say no, then you haven't been watching collegiate football. You got Pat Pete.
No, I can
Tyrann
think
Mathieu.
I can think of Tyrann Mathieu. I can think of Pat Pete. I can think of some other guys. But who have they produced in the last 4 years?
I mean, everyone that
how
was
long
in
was
that.
Grant Delpit?
Yeah, Grant Delpit. Everyone that was in that on that national championship team got drafted. They might have been first rounders, but I think sometimes you can be okay with being a third rounder. Yeah. Then we've got
Delpit's the most recent one I can think of. But
yeah,
they had a defensive back go this year. Like in the first 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken, right? Because it was one of those draft picks that I was like, "Oh, who is that?" I didn't think that defense was good enough to have one of those.
That's a good question. I don't know. I know that just you can never count out LSU on defensive backs for whatever reason. Even if it's different coaches, those guys do well at getting defensive backs. And Matt Bingham, welcome back. I haven't seen you in a while, bud.
Hey, welcome back to the show, buddy. We've missed you. Congrats on the baby. Baby incoming, right? I can't remember exactly.
Somebody had a baby?
Is it congrats on the baby hose, or is it the baby incoming?
I don't remember. I think he was in. It might have been incoming. It's been a while.
His commentary here is have a baby. It's either incoming or here right now. So congratulations either way.
Is it your first? I just gotta know. Is it your first?
On the way.
On the way.
He thinks Nwaneri is gonna be a Sooner. Brandon, were you on that boat? I know Brum was okay. Brum was a negative one then. He was saying
we're all on that. Oh, maybe Brum's not.
Brum was the one that was saying there's a world where Nwaneri's not on this class, which there's a world where everyone's on this class. So you got to pick and choose here. But I mean, it's a big weekend, and what's crazy is Stone was expected to be there this weekend, and he still might be. But On 3 today released that David Stone is actually at Miami for an official visit. I believe it started today. So there is a chance, if he's legit going to be there this weekend, he will be back late tomorrow, early Saturday to help Oklahoma recruit, and if that happens, Brandon's got something to say about it.
Well, you know what? You know what I'm gonna say.
I know because we were talking about it earlier.
What are you gonna say?
Here's the deal. On3s is a very credible source, a very reliable source, they're good. They're good. So David Stone is actually at Miami this weekend. Or right now. Whatever. He's scheduled to be at Oklahoma on Saturday for this recruiting weekend. I come on this show all of the time and say these kids should just take free visits, take free official visits, go on vacation. If David Stone is truly at Miami right now, which I think he probably is, and he comes back to Norman for Saturday, then everything I say on the show about taking a free vacation, everything I say about getting paid to go on vacation to a gorgeous site like Miami, it's gonna be true. It's gonna be verified if David Stone comes back to Norman this weekend, because this man literally went to Miami for 3 days, 2 days, whatever, and he's coming back to Norman for the actual important weekend. That man took a vacation, is what happened. If he's in Norman this weekend, he took a vacation. Tell me I'm wrong.
There's nothing to do in Norman, Oklahoma, right? Why would you leave Miami to go to Norman, Oklahoma? There's nothing.
There's so much to do in Miami. So if he's in Norman this weekend, that man took a vacation.
I can think of right now, if I am David Stone and I have all these places looking at me, I'm taking a vacation to Miami, Florida. Screw Los Angeles. I don't even know.
I couldn't agree more.
I would go check out Oregon.
Hawaii.
I don't know.
No, because then it's obvious you're just taking vacations. No one's going to Hawaii.
Take my chances and go up to Boulder, Colorado. Meet Brandon. I'm pretty sure you've said this before. Go meet the GOAT. Go up there, see Dion, shake his hand. Try not to punch him in the face. Just go see these places. Go check them out. Go see what it's all about.
It's a vacation.
Vacation.
It's nothing else.
Turn around, come back home. You're an Oklahoma kid. Boomer sooner, right?
I think after the barbecue, his actual official visit, things have to get wrapped up.
But at the end of the day, if David Stone's on campus on June 9th or June 10th, whatever, that man took a vacation. It is what it is.
It is. That's true. I don't disagree. Then it pretty much kind of stomps every possible idea that he wasn't going to be a Sooner, and it really has just been coaches or family or himself wanting to wait until it was closer to time, or maybe this has been a thing for a long time now, and he just hasn't made it public. Because why make it public at this point?
Matt, I think we've learned just this week that just because a relative is on a team somewhere in Norman, it doesn't mean near as much as a girlfriend. I think we learned that this week.
Yeah.
He says David Stone's sister's on the track team for OU. We just lost.
Girlfriends are undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but not sisters.
Yeah.
Girlfriends and sisters very different.
Hope says it best. I mean, which head does he think with? I mean, that's what he said with Bowen. So
boys, boys, they're thinking about football, nothing else. All right, relax for a second.
Sure, they are.
But,
they don't have sex.
Yeah, with Wesco going out to Clemson, and that he's got sister on soccer team, right? That
used to be on soccer team.
She
transferred to North Texas.
Yeah.
After the new soccer coach came in.
Yes, I don't know. We'll see. Talking about Wesco, though, I haven't got to talk to you boys since that day went down. Losing Wesco and oh man, I just blanked on the linebacker. Sammy Brown. What do you guys think? I mean, Sammy Brown, I personally thought was going to be hard to pull out of the state of Georgia. was hoping we could. I'm not going to sit here and say it's over. It's what is today, June 8th. I think now we get to turn on the watching game and see if he goes and visits somewhere with Clemson's whole can't take visits or whatever after you commit. See if he goes somewhere. See if he goes and checks somebody out. And I think, okay, maybe this is open still. But I just want to hear, what do you guys think about losing those two for now?
I think you said it right. I don't think Oklahoma lost Sammy Brown. I think we were always an underdog in the Sammy Brown recruitment. We were never the favorite. If we landed him, it would have been like a holy hell. Yep. Good job, Oklahoma. Nice recruiting job. Brian Wesco sucks. Like there's no doubt about that. I think with Brian Wesco, I think we led in that recruitment for a very long time, and I don't know exactly what changed. I think maybe Dabo Swinney is just that good. And maybe he took one visit down to Clemson, South Carolina, met Dabo Swinney, who seems like a good time haver, a fun guy. Dabo Swinney seems like a guy that you want to hang out with. Maybe he took one visit to Dabo Swinney, and it was just that easy to switch it. But Sammy Brown doesn't suck as much to me because I think that was always, again, like you said, Brody, I think that was we were never
green shot.
Brian Wesco is the one that sucks.
Yeah. Sammy Brown was like unicorns and rainbows. Holy crap, everything's falling into place perfectly.
Yes.
Wesco was one of those that it's like, I'm going to say it, we've got to get the ball in the hands of my Mustang boy. Because if we're going to continue to lose wide receivers, Jacoby's going to have to go to the offense side and touch the ball. But I think that's why Wesco hurts the most.
Wesco hurts just because it was like someone that a lot of people expected to be part of this class. I doubt that the staff and Emmett Jones are done trying to recruit him. It might have cooled off here for the next few weeks while they focus on what's at hand and this weekend and the Champion Barbecue, probably planning out the list for the Party in the Palace in late July. But you still have, Brandon Harper. I think he's someone that's underrated. He was one of the best, if not the best, wide receiver in the state of Oklahoma last year as a senior. From a small school, put up crazy numbers. Still got Jaquez Petaway coming in, and you have a ton of potential that's in the room. So I don't think Jacoby Johnson is necessarily required to move to the offensive side because his athleticism is much more needed on defense because there's a lot of guys in the wide receiver room. We just haven't seen them show out like they should have maybe at this point.
Hose, have you seen this guy with the ball in his hands?
Yeah, but look at the depth that you have on both sides of the ball. There's more guys that you can trust in the wide receiver room, and there's more competition and there's more mix-up in the DB area. Like, you still don't have a for sure number two. Like, Jacoby Johnson, if he learns the playbook fast enough, he can come in and be the number two guy for the defense. It's a long shot because he is coming in the summer, but there's a spot there. On the offensive side,
you think he has a chance to beat out Kendall?
Yeah, as long as he can learn the playbook. Like, Kendall's obviously got the jump on him. He's been on campus since January. But Jacoby's athletic enough. Like, as long as he can learn the freaking playbook, he can touch the field.
That's the thing.
I agree with you guys.
Jacoby Johnson is the fact that you're saying that, Hose, and I actually love that you're saying that because I actually agree with you. He's that special where he could, I think, step in and play DB and be DB2 or DB3, whatever. Like, he can earn his reps at defensive back. But Brody and I have watched this guy play football live on Friday nights for 2 or 3 years running. He is, and I'm not just saying this shit, he is 10 times better as a receiver as he is as a defensive back, which says a lot because the guy is very good at playing defensive back. But as a receiver, he reminds me a little bit, not a lot, because I think Jaquez Petaway, what he does, I still wish that guy's name was Jaquazy because it just goes
crazy, go crazy, baby.
Crazy, go crazy, yeah. I don't think that Jacoby Johnson is quite the playmaker that Jaquez Petaway is in the open field. I don't. But I think Jacoby Johnson has more of a just throwing the ball, he's going to get up and get it. He can run any route. He's gonna beat his defensive back. He's not the open field player that Jaquez Petaway is, but he is the CeeDee Lamb to Jaquez Petaway's Hollywood Brown.
That 4.3 40 speed is surprising. That is a big boy to turn the burners on at 4.3 40. And he makes it look so easy. And watching him senior year with D1 athletes all over the field for Jinx and Union and Owasso, he was the best athlete on the field. Hands down, best athlete on the field, no matter who they played that night. And I said it on this show with you, Ho, when we did it, just you and I, a few months back. He just easily outran people every time the ball was in his hands. Every single time the ball was in his hands. Kick return, punt return. It didn't matter. Dude was gone. And so I don't know. I do believe that he's the defensive back that Brent Venables wants. He's got the length. He's got the speed. He's got the physicality. Like he's the defensive back that fits Brent Venables to a T. But at the same time, the dude would absolutely ball out on the offense.
Well, I think the point that you made for why you think he should be a wide receiver is what's holding him back. In high school, he was, no matter who he was playing against, he was just more athletic. In college, you got to be a better route runner. You got to know how to create separation. Keep, concentrated on the ball. Not that he can't do that or learn those things, but I think just being a pure athlete will translate better on the defensive side and getting him on the ball on the field significantly faster. Yeah, there's a lot of technique with being a DB, but if you're gonna put someone on a tall wide receiver who Oklahoma has struggled against with a lot, he's gonna be the defensive back that you can trust because of the reason you said. A fantastic athlete, 4'3" guy, 6'2", 6'1", 6'2".
Mustang call him 6'3".
6'3".
I don't know.
He's gonna.
He's 6'2", 6'3". He's somewhere in there.
He's gonna have the reach to make sure and the speed to keep up with these tall wide receivers that OU has struggled against. That's the only reason I think OU is so hell-bent on making sure he's a DB. And I agree with him. It just makes more sense, especially when, again, you have talent in the wide receiver room. It just hasn't quite panned out yet. I mean, Jaden Gibson, I know he's got drops issues, but if he can fix that, he creates separation. He's a good route runner. Should be on the field. Nick Anderson, there's a lot expected out of him. He's just been dealing with injuries. You get Jaquez Petaway coming in. DJ Graham has been raved about for most of the offseason. You still have Jalil and Drake. There's a good handful of guys that OU can rely on to help at the wide receiver 3.
You know what I'd argue, and you know what I'd almost do, even if I'm Brent Venables, if I'm the Sooner coaching staff, because this is college football, not the National Football League. It's a little bit different here. I'm playing Jacoby Johnson on third down plays, on big plays, in the red zone, or on things like that, because this guy is huge. He can make plays on offense. But guess what? There's no rules against you playing him offensively on third down or in the red zone and then throwing him back out there on defense.
Well, yeah, that's what Deion Sanders does with Travis Hunter, but the
difference is illegal. That is not illegal by any means.
I get that, but then you also have Jaden Gibson, who people expect something out of. That's my point. There is someone there to do what Jacoby Johnson could do if he's absolutely necessary for wide receiver. He's not the only tall guy.
I know it's just because I've put my 2 eyes on this guy for over 4 years now that, I I just happened to be at the high school football practice the day him and his dad showed up to even see if Mustang's where he was meant to be. And I'm talking to one of the coaches, and I'm like, who's that kid? He's a freshman in high school. I'm like, who's that kid? And seeing his dad's a TCU basketball player. Seeing his dad, you knew, okay, this kid's going to be huge. I mean, he's going to have some height to him. And I'm like, is he coming to Mustang, or what is the deal here? Is this just like someone's cousin, or you know how summer workouts are? And they're like, no, his name's Jacoby Johnson. He's moving to Mustang from Rush Springs, tiny little town. They wanted to get him up here playing 6A, playing the best kids in the state, blah, blah, blah. Seeing him his whole high school career, and I watched him go up and moss dudes game after game, watched him take kick returns back for touchdown, punt returns back for touchdowns. I saw him take little screens for – I mean, I think I posted or I sent you guys the video to post to Twitter last football season. He takes a little bubble screen 95 yards. I got a video of it. Y'all posted on Twitter, and it's just like put the ball in his hands, and kid's special. But at the same time, I believe no matter where you put the kid, he's going to succeed. I will be very, very, one, disappointed, and two, surprised if he does not step on the field at some point this season.
That's fair. But let's move on from Jacoby. We'll talk about a couple more guys. Not really even a couple guys. I think Coach B has the biggest task at hand this weekend. He's got like 4 or 5 offensive linemen there this weekend visiting. Who can he secure, if any? I mean, Brandon says it all the time. Why not play at Oklahoma as an offensive lineman? You have one of the best, if not the best, offensive line coach in Norman. All you got to do is show up, and he will put you in a position to succeed and make it to the NFL. You've seen it for years now. He had a whole, 2 whole units get in the NFL, at least get opportunities in the NFL. Maybe they all didn't make the roster or an active roster, but Bobby Evans got drafted. Adrian Ely got an opportunity in the NFL. Creed Humphreys is obviously like the gem of his career so far.
He literally has
him drafted. 2
of the best offensive linemen in the NFL right now. He's got the best center in the NFL and the best overall offensive lineman in the league right now. Trent and Creed.
Well, I don't think Trent played for Bill Bedenbaugh.
I think that was just
you're right. Time. You're right. That's right.
But he does have another really good left tackle in Orlando Brown. So you've got a lot of really good offensive linemen in the NFL. Just Oklahoma seems like a no-brainer, at least to look at for offensive linemen. Maybe not everyone's going to commit there, but if you're a talented O-line, why not be in Norman, you know?
Give me Eddie Pierre-Louis.
Yeah, that's a big boy. Very athletic. We talked about him a week or 2 ago.
Yeah. Give me Eddie Pierre-Louis. If we don't win on anybody else this weekend, give me Eddie Pierre-Louis.
For offensive linemen or just out of everyone?
For offensive linemen. If we're talking about Coach B, we're talking about – because you said he has the biggest job this weekend, and I agree. Mm-hmm. He's got 4 or 5 elite prospects. But if he's going to win out on one, I'm picking Eddie Pierre-Louis.
Agreed. That would be nice to see him. Like we said, him at a tackle position, and then Caden Green at the other one. Those are 2 very athletic tackles that are going to be hard to get around.
With the offensive lineman that he pulled this last recruiting class, you bring those 2 in. Let's think. Crimson and cream classes here. Both of those commit. We're looking at the 2024 football season. Who's playing tackle?
Caden Green's one of them.
And Big
Caden
Sexy.
Green is a true freshman.
2024 would be
2024
his
would be
red shirt or soft.
I can't was right now.
Yeah.
Caden Green and Big Sexy.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what positions, though, because you would
Or
expect...
Jake Taylor, because Jake Taylor is there, too, as a tackle.
Yeah, but he could get kicked into the interior. I think he's kind of getting look at guard and tackle, just depending on depth. So he could be like a backup tackle, starting guard, kind of like Conjul, where you would just kind of put wherever was necessary, kind of just a plug and play guy. But I don't know where Caden, like you would expect Caden Green to be a left tackle, but Jake Sexton has been the one that's gotten a lot of left tackle reps. I mean, he has been there a year longer, but we'll see what happens when that time comes.
I haven't heard of Sexton. Where's Sexton at on his recovery?
Big Sexy?
Where's he at on his recovery?
He might not be ready to start when the season begins, but he could be back, mid-season. Just depends on setbacks.
This year's line is going to be filled with a couple of transfer guys that we don't talk about enough on the show. I think Walter Rouse is going to be a huge contributor to the offensive line. And there's the other kid we got. Walter Rouse is the only kid I think of right now who was originally committed to Nebraska and the next day changed his mind. And then who's the other kid that we got as a transfer offensive lineman?
Caleb, the guard?
Yes.
What the hell's his name? I don't remember, but I know who you're talking. I don't remember his name, but I know who you're talking about.
I think Walter Rouse is going to get significant playing time. I think to be able to change his mind in a day from Nebraska to Oklahoma is huge. I think that's something about what Bill Bedenbaugh did.
Jimmy just commented in for us.
Yes, Schaefer. Both of those guys are going to play significant minutes.
I agree.
Talking about Coach B, and we got another year. I believe this is the year we see the biggest jump from the offensive lineman and defensive lineman. It's the second year, first full year under Schmitty, and you have messing with Schmitty in the summertime. You got all of that. I believe the offensive line and the defensive line take a huge jump. When do we see the best O-line in the nation come back to Norman, Oklahoma?
I would say...
How far are we from that?
I would say next season.
2024?
Yeah, 2024. And that would still be a big ask because then you're going into SEC where you're facing a couple more challenges with preparation, opponents you're going up against. It's first time for everything.
In my opinion, it depends on how quickly a guy like Joshua Bates can develop, honestly. Because that's a guy who I think has all the potential in the world. I think we all think he's incredible.
Yeah.
But if you go back and watch the spring game, and granted, he's playing against some very talented defensive linemen. Guys like Derek LeBlanc, guys like PJ Adebore, who are elite level defensive linemen. But he was getting blown up. He was part of that second offensive line group that was getting just absolutely manhandled. But it's hard to blame him right away because at the end of the day, Joshua Bates is a fresh 18-year-old kid playing against some pretty damn good kids on the defensive line. Like it's different. It ain't high school anymore, buddy. And I think he realized that in the spring game.
He'd been on campus 3 months?
That's what I'm saying. I think when it comes down to when OU becomes the next elite offensive line, which inevitably is going to happen, I talk about on the show all the time. Coach Bill Bedenbaugh is going to build that offensive line. It's gonna happen. But I think
he has control of his offensive line back. You have, and I'm not trying to go down that rabbit hole, but you have an actual strength and conditioning coach back on campus. I mean, you're back to actually watching what these guys consume and put into their body. You have a head coach who He's not trying to razzle dazzle you. He's trying to punch you right in the freaking mouth and take your manhood from you. You have everything set in place to take back being the best offensive lineman in the nation. And it's just now it comes down to recruiting.
No, I mean, hold on. It's gonna happen because Coach Bill, I was gonna say is, Coach B is gonna do that. It's literally what he does. But in my opinion, it happens once Joshua Bates becomes elite. I think it starts at the head of the snake, and I think Josh Bates is the head of the snake of the offensive line. He's the center. He's gonna call all the shots. Like Creed Humphreys is the greatest center in the game, college and NFL. He's the greatest center in the game. It starts with him. He's the first person who touches the ball every single play. He's the only person who touches the ball every single play, him and the quarterback. It starts with Josh Bates. And once Josh Bates gets there, and I don't know if it's not going to be this year. I don't know if it's next year. It might be 2 years from now. Once Joshua Bates becomes that guy, that's when the offensive line as a whole comes together. It's how it works. I think Josh Bates is the head of the snake. He's the one who's going to run the show. Once Joshua Bates becomes elite, which he's going to, that's when the offensive line becomes elite.
Yeah, I agree. Well, let's go ahead and wrap it up, boys. Any final thoughts?
Brody, thanks for joining us. Also, I love doing a shot with you, buddy. I'll do it every single time. Hey, three-peat. For next year, we'll do let's do 2 shots.
Should have done 3 this year for 3.
No. Bad. What's up?
I said Brody does have a 2-year-old or a 1.5-year-old.
You know, the bad thing is first time that this has been brought out since last year's national championship.
It's your national championship.
It's actually a good thing. Congrats on being a good father.
Oh, thanks, Brody. Thanks, everyone, for watching. We'll see you Tuesday for another
Thank you, boys.
stream.
Thank you, everyone, for having me on. And I'll be on anytime you guys need me.
Oh, yeah, brother.